in several places. My family has several land in several places, and I've got tea growing in several places. And that's just one of them. But I make most of my tea out there. Most of the tea that I've got is up 20 feet tall, you know, and because I hadn't been cutting it. And if it's like it's on reserve. And if I need it, I can just walk right through it with a chainsaw. I can cut it all down, and next spring there's a fine crop of tea. So I've got much more tea than what I need. Because I don't try and put it in shops, I don't try and put it in restaurants, I won't sell it online, I won't go to the post office with a little box because I don't care to. If I was hungry, it'd be different. If I was younger, it would be different. If I wanted to make a living out of it, I'd do it all different, but I'd be more commercial. But I'm not commercial, I'm very artisan. These plants right here, these are some of the plants I got from the Lipton Tea Company. That white frame right there, that's part of what the hurricane didn't blow away. That's part of the cold frame that I rooted tea. So these are the plants I got from the Lipton Tea Company. And in that little frame right there, which has been blown away years ago, that frame right there was my greenhouse that I produced all of my tea plants from. So these are the ones that came from the Lipton Tea Company, and they are Chinese varieties, and they're all mixed together. There's three varieties there, and they're all kind of mixed in there together.
What are 3 varieties?
I used to know them, but I can't say those anymore.
Oh,
yeah, they have Chinese names to them.
Oh, they Chinese.
I knew it for a while, but you know, no one ever really cared about that, and you know, you lose it. I brought a Chinese back when I first went, Shenhua. He came to my house and lived here for a year. It was great. We loved it, and he was a great cook. And he said back then in the 70s, in the 80s, he made $30 a month. And I said, I'll pay you 40. And I got him a green card, and with that much clothes in a bag, I brought him home with me. So, and he lived in my house for a year.
He's still alive?
Yeah. He's gotten to be a big shot executive now. He went back to Shanghai. Actually, we lived in Suzhou, and he went to Suzhou, and they were building, Pillsbury was building a plant there. And in a job interview, he said, y'all want some more? You know, like Southern English. And he said they just fell off the stool and howled, and he got the job. Now, when you go to Shanghai, those colored buildings that's got all that stuff on it, he's in that one. And laissez-faire, it's one of the largest baking industries in the world, and he's the manager of the quality control department. He's a big guy. He has thin watches, nice jewelry, you know. And he comes here now, and he's like, he's Mr. Big Shot now, you know, because he made it big. But it was because I helped him. I helped him a lot. I gave him, when he came here, I sent him to a culinary school in Mobile. And so we got him back and forth, and he got an associate degree in culinary arts. All right, he had American education. He went back to China with American education.
And he's smart, and he got help from you.
Oh yeah,
how did he impress you? I mean, why?
Well, I'd bought some soldier shoes and army shoes, and I had on green tennis shoes. And he said, Pele main shoes. Pele main. He said P-L-A, man.
Okay.
He said Pele main. And I thought, what's Pele main? What's Pele main? And so that started us talking. And he was a cook. And I was actually copying the menu of the restaurant because I thought the names of the food were real interesting. So we just got a good rapport. I talked to him just the other day. He was his daughter now she married a Chinese gentleman, and they've now moved to Kansas, Haymarket, Kansas. They moved to Kansas now, so he came over to visit them. He's rich. He can fly the world. And so I talked to him. He was going to come down here, but his daughter got sick, and so he didn't make it down here. But he comes down here every now and then. And we still are good friends. Have been friends now for 40 years. I've seen him get old.
Well, you look still pretty young.
Well, yeah, I'm well preserved. But I went to visit he's moved to Shanghai, and I went to visit him there, and he has a whole floor in an apartment building. You know, that's a status. He owns the whole floor, and his furniture is like designer furniture. You know, and he's living the good life, you know. So I went to visit him there in his apartment. He's doing quite well.
Well, he was lucky. I mean,
yeah.
You helped him, and you know,
I helped him a lot.
to get the first pot of gold, huh?
Exactly. See, this one is this is an Asamaka plant. See, and the Samakas have these great big leaves on them, and that's different. You know, that comes from India. Like the Darjeeling Valley, they use Asamaka, and I know some of the growers now they're using Asamaka, but it's kind of the basics flavor that's in English breakfast teas. You got strong, bitter flavor. It's in these. So I've got a few of them out there, but I don't mix them. I don't hardly use that. That just happened to be there. Someone gave it to me, and I planted it there. Now, the way I dry tea, you can't see it now. The storms tear it down. See that roll of plastic right there? I put stakes in the ground and I make a dry pen. And this is something I learned how to do in China. I learned how to do this. I really stole this technology. And what I do, when I pick tea, I'll either process it green or I'll process it black. And you can see this square in the yard here. And I put stakes in the ground. Then I put up a plastic wall around. That keeps the wind from blowing on the surface. And this is how they dry kelp. This is how they dry dolts. This is how they dry apples. And they dry it in a little small pen. If you made it even bigger, the wind would get in it. So it's a little small pen. And when you get in there, work down on the ground, it's like a microwave. And so you can if it's green tea, it looks like green hamburger meat. If it's black tea, it looks like chocolate brown, dark hamburger meat. You bring it out here, you spread that wet effluent out on old bed sheets. I used to use baskets, but I can't hardly get in the door with them. I used to use, I use bed sheets because I, look like Santa Claus carrying bags, and I can get in and out of the doors with it. So I'll put those old sheets here. I'll take that wet effluent and I'll spread it out here. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, toast. It'll dry it out, and it seals the flavor in. See, if I just put it out and dry it, it would take several days to dry it, and it will get kind of stale. I learned this from the Chinese. And they told me what they were doing, and I said, "Oh, that sounds very good."
So you made mostly green tea. You started with green tea, then you kind of migrated.
No, I made mostly black tea.
Oh, you made it.
Yeah, mostly black tea. I didn't. I grew up drinking black tea and Lipton tea, and so I didn't really like green tea too much. But when you go to China, they change your mind. So now my wife and I, we like green tea. We like green tea, but I learned how to make black tea first, and I was more interested in the black tea. But I make about half and half. People, they buy 50-50. They buy green tea and they buy black tea, and they buy tea bags and they buy loose leaf. 50-50, 50-50.
You don't make a oolong.
Oh yeah.
You made the oolong.
Yeah,
Okay,
I do. That's some of our favorite tea. When I worked at the museum for 22 years, and I sold oolong in our gift shop there. And by the time I left there, in about 8 years, we sold almost $30,000 worth of oolong. And that was everybody's favorite. And so that's what my wife and I like better. But to cater to my tourists, I tend to sell them either green or either black. But we do make some oolong. And when I go to packaging it, if I'm running low on green, I'll call oolong green, and I'll go ahead and sell that as green because they don't know, and it's good. It's good. And then even my black tea, I will even put a little oolong in my black tea to soften it a little bit. Because my black tea is real strong. So we know how to make tea.
Can I walk around the?
Oh yeah, you were just out there. Why don't you get in a golf cart and I can ride around quickly.
Oh, I can walk if you.
It's a lot faster if you go in the golf
cart.
Cart.
Sure, definitely, yeah.
And I get up to showing you what I want to show you.
Sure. Most time actually I like to walk around. Just.
Oh yeah.
Get my daily steps.
Get in.
Yeah,
over
sure.
Here. That's for the dog.
Thank you. So, yeah. Now I'm the dog.
Hang on, we're going to move.
Yeah, the peacocks were really interesting. They're eye-catching.
Yeah, I have about 15 of them.
15.
Yeah.
So that's your wife's pets, or?
Yeah, this is where I painted all that stuff for Halloween.
Oh, Halloween.
I hate to take it down because I put it in the barn and it'll just rot away. See, all this is cheap.
Yeah. How long you have been in the tea business?
For about 44 years.
44 years.
And see what right now, I'm pruning it. This is the time of year, you're not picking it now, you're pruning it now. And that's what I'm doing now, is I'm pruning it.
Were you a veteran?
Was it what?
Were you a veteran?
A what?
A retired military staff?
No, I wasn't military, no.
Oh, you were not in the military?
No, I was, during the Vietnam War time, I stayed in college so I wouldn't have to be in the military.
He's smart.
Because Vietnam wasn't pretty. See, all that's tea.
Okay.
And see, I don't pick that because it's in the shade. It's not as good. It's better when it grows out in the sun. And so this is most of my tea that I make tea with. I make it out here in the sun.
Do you have any helper, or you pick it
Well,
up?
I have, but help is all your problems. All your problem comes with employees. You see how I prune it? See, I prune it hard. See, this is right here. I'm going to prune this one too. See, I'm going to prune this right through there. See, I'm going to prune that like that. Now, this is where I make most of my green tea. It'll come up just like that, and you'll pick it, and 2 weeks later, you'll pick it again, and 2 weeks later, you'll pick it again, and that makes a lot of tea. That makes a lot of tea. And so these flat rows I'll make my green tea on. On these round rows here, I let them grow up heavier and older. I want to make my black tea out of older leaves. That's why it has more caffeine in it, because you're using older leaves. It's accumulated more caffeine. So these right here I'll pick every 2 weeks, and these right here I'll pick about once a month. And I'll get real older growth on this. I will get older growth on that, and I get young growth on that. So that young is what I make my green tea out of, and the older growth is what I make my black tea out of. So the shape of the row has a lot to do with it.
Do you think like this part of the land is kind of flat? It doesn't really have like the hilly.
Right. Yeah.
Will that actually make the tea kind of less complex or less sophisticated?
It will. I don't think that will make it. I don't know if that will do that or not.
Okay.
It will certainly affect that flavor, and it's a product of its environment. And also we're close to water. Usually tea doesn't grow close to water. Right through those trees is Weeks Bay. Right behind you, all that sky you see over there, that's over Mobile Bay. We're real close to Mobile Bay. So we're right in between water. And I've had a lot of experts, they come here and they say, well, tea doesn't grow next to water. Here it is. Tea doesn't grow in flat places. Here it is. And it's growing real good. It's growing real good here. And I make a lot of tea here. I make about 300 pounds. I had a terrible year this past year. You know, farming's like that. You have good years and bad years. I had a bad year this past year. But usually I make about 300 pounds. And I have this in several places, but I usually make my 300 pounds right here.
Oh, interesting.
These produce a lot of tea. And this right here is about to get all pruned off. I'm in the middle of pruning right now. It's like you work on the tea all the time. I work on tea every day. I have drive-ups here, like you, almost every day. This past week, I've been selling about $100 of tea every day to people for Christmas presents. You know, they'll come and buy, one lady bought 22 packages of tea, you know, so they'll buy 6 or 8, you know, to give out as Christmas presents. So I sell a lot for that.
Yeah, you're a rich man.
Oh yeah, well,
300 pounds.
The problem is tea is not expensive. And there's lots of tea in this world. And so you can't charge a lot of money for tea. And some people do. One friend of mine over there in Tallahassee charges $320 for a pound of tea. I can never do that. I charge about $30 for a pound of tea. And my friend over there in Great Mississippi, Jason, he sells his pounds for $90 a pound. But see, I don't get that much money for mine. I don't sell mine for that much. I don't think it's worth that much. If I was hungry, it'd be different. If I was doing it for a living, it'd be different. But I'm doing this for fun. I do it because I like it.
I can see the passion. You know, that's.
Oh yeah, because I like people. I meet people. I have tea tours and I meet people. And I only want to do 1 tour a day. Although I've got more people coming at 1 o'clock today. I only want to do 1 tour a day, but I wind up doing them anyway.
Yeah. Thanks for being flexible.
Oh,
yeah, thank you very much. And you know,
I'm flexible. Let's go back. We need to get you going back to Texas. I've been wanting to go to San Antonio and walk on that river walk. A friend of mine went to San Antonio and he stayed there at one of these mission type places and then walked that river walk. He said, that was wonderful.
You know, I'll give you my email address. Be serious. If you come down, just give me a ring. You know, I teach in the college, the university, so I've been here 20-some years. So,
have you?
Yeah. So actually, one of my job is show people around.
Yeah.
Like whenever we interview people, so I know the place well.
I'm on the verge of going to San Antonio to walk on the river walk. So, yeah, I will take your.
Well, you know, river walk is kind of a. Kind of
touristy.
Yeah, tourist overrated in that sense. But you know, the place actually is very cultural. If you're interested in the history, the place.
It's Western. See, there's nothing Western here. And
Yeah.
I've flown over the West several times, but I've never really like gone to, New Mexico or Arizona. I've never gone anyplace like
We
that.
have San Antonio has a deep history. The Spanish
I would like to
influence,
do that.
but also what for example, we had a president, LBJ,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Lyndon Johnson. That's the Vietnam War. Probably you're gonna
Did
hate
he
it.
live close to San Antonio?
Very close, and that's from a hill country. The place called Johnson City.
Yeah.
And why
Oh,
they
yeah.
call it Johnson City? Because they all call it Johnson.
Really?
So yeah, Lyndon Johnson. He's
I know,
from.
I know exactly what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about. See, that's an Asamica plant. See how different it is? And see, I don't prune it. Asamicas you just pick the clumps off of it. These others you prune down and pick the new growth that comes up. Asamicas, when you pick that, you get more, but it has a flavor to it, and I don't like it. I don't like the Asamicas, so I don't do too much with it.
Yeah, it's too bitter. Actually, very popular in Hong Kong. They make the British tea. It's basically put the milk and put the sugar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I know about that. When British people come, I have to supply them with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Splash of milk. We call it cream, and they call it splash of milk.
So you are very into the Oriental culture. You have the bamboos. You have
A
the.
bit, yes.
What was it?
I was
What?
in Japan. That stuff grows all over Japan like weeds, but it's a Chinese variety, and
What made you into the?
it's what make furniture out of it.
I see,
They make
okay.
everything out of it. Yeah.
So you was working for the museum.
Oh yeah, I was a director.
Oh.
I was a director for 22 years.
The Mobile Museum?
No, it was the Fairhope Museum.
Oh, Fairhope
I
Museum.
built it, and I was a director there for 22 years, and they paid me well. So I don't have to do tea for money. It's not my livelihood at all because they pay me real well, and I retired on a real good pension, and I'm just happy as I can be. So I don't have to sell tea for money, but I do make a bunch of money with it.
Yeah, this rose is this is how old this one is.
Oh, we live in a great place because I don't have neighbors. There's nobody out there. There's no children and bicycles. There's no neighbors here. And I like that. I like that.
Then your kids don't live nearby?
They live in Fairhope.
Oh, they're Fairhope.
Yeah, we got a lot of family. Oh, we got big family. In fact, when Christmas comes, it's we got big parties and lots of family.